Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always is my good buddy.
This is Ryan.
And this week, fuck.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. So first and foremost, how are you doing this week, my brother?
Doing alright, not too bad. Same shit, different week, especially with this COVID thing going on. Had one of the guys that I work directly with at work come up positive, which is always fun.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, but only got, I think, like 14 business days left of work before we go on winter break. So
3 weeks, that'll go by in a flash, man.
yeah, it'll go by quick, and then we can then I can really dive into some gaming. Like,
Yeah, for sure. And that is one of the first things I wanted to touch on is what we've been playing, other than that game for the week, which is Cuphead, for anybody who didn't catch the title of the episode. But I know you probably haven't been playing much, but we'll get to what you have been playing in a second. I was playing a bunch of World of Warcraft this week, along with Cuphead. I've been trying to run some mythics with my Frost Mage to get it geared up. I made a mage on Flatus's server and joined their guild with him and Susan and all those good fine people over there at Maelstrom Radio. So that's been fun. You know, I'm gonna level on there and run some stuff with them hopefully eventually. And then you told me that you were thinking about getting into an MMO.
yeah.
And I gave you a choice of like knowing kind of how you are as far as wanting to be able to skip bullshit, get to action, all that type of stuff. I gave you like two choices of free MMOs that I knew of, and it was that your computer could run.
Yeah.
Was Guild Wars 2 and Terra.
Yeah.
And you told me that you wanted to check out Guild Wars 2, so we did that. And you and I both got the expansions and all that jazz, and we were able to get in, use the 80 boost to get a mount, and get a little bit of a head start.
I'm one of the characters. I know on my second character I'm doing like the slow play. Like, I think
and I used the boost character specifically to just go ahead and get a mount.
Yeah.
And then I want to play through on my other characters because I want to learn the mechanics and learn the areas.
Yeah.
And, kind of get the lay of the land, because jumping into end game of an MMO, that is just not a good idea, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who do it and love it, but it's not a good idea.
I get it. I love so far I really love the game. It's gorgeous, animation-wise. Like, I was not expecting it to be that pretty, but...
Yeah, it looks really good on my PC, too.
And then, so far, the two different classes that I've built, they're really fun. Like my thief, Sprinkles Surprise, she's really fun. She's really fun to play. And then the guardian that I just put the little level 80 boost on, Brianna of Pop-Tarth, she's a beast too. But yeah, it's definitely fun. I can't wait to actually get into break so that we can really dive into like the story mode, like the storyline of that game, and get going.
Yeah, it'll be cool to dive more into it. I found a podcast. I'll give them a quick shout out. It's called the Lightbringers Podcast. It's about Guild Wars 2.
Oh, fun.
And I've been listening to that today, and they talk about some lore and different gaming stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty informational, and it's been nice. It's been a good accompaniment to me sitting here playing.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, I'm sure there was some gaming news this week, but with all the other news going on in the world, in our country, I didn't really pay attention to much gaming news.
Just saw, what was it? Is it Mass Effect?
Oh, they're doing a remastered Mass Effect trilogy.
Yeah, they're doing a remastered Mass Effect trilogy, and they announced a future Mass Effect game.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I know that made my buddy Dustin cream his jeans, because he is all about that series.
His jeans. There we go.
Cream his jeans. Yeah, straight up. Like cream corn, just flush.
Gross. If it's that fucking chunky, he may want to go see a doctor.
I got the clap. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, God. Chunky cream corn cum.
Yeah.
God. That's a fucking thought right there.
That's a hardcore punk band name.
Speaking of, your wonderful lady, Miss Corinne, sent me or told us about a punk band right before we went live called was it Cowabunga Pizza Time?
Yeah, Cowabunga Pizza Time.
Or Cowabunga Pizza Party. It was something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, they're hella catchy. I'm not gonna lie. They're all
I haven't listened to it yet.
Turtles.
But I'm gonna put it on Spotify at work tomorrow and listen to that all day.
The song that I listened to was called My Arcade. I think is what it was called. It was catchy.
It's great. They're going along with the whole thing. Like the first one, I think is just like a self-titled album, and then the second album is a play on the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, The Secret of the Ooze. The second title, or the second album, is Secret of the Booze.
Secret of the Booze.
Yeah. So I'm going to check them out. It's not the first, like, Ninja Turtles themed, like, albums that I've seen before. I know Horse the Band did the Pizza EP, and they
Holy fuck,
covered. They covered.
I haven't thought of that band in for so long.
I love Horse the Band. I still bop to them at work every now and then.
Jesus Christ, I seriously haven't thought of that band in like 8 years at least. Horse the Band. Wow.
Good old Nintendo core. Right.
But speaking of Secrets of the Booze, I am actually drinking booze for like the first time in forever.
Yeah.
I'm not normally a drinker. If anybody who knows me, and I mean, whether you're on the know me on the internet or anything, I'm a pothead through and through. Like,
same.
I prefer smoking weed. It's just I don't like I had plenty of hangovers before I turned 21 to the point that once it was legal, I was like, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, same. I went through like my alcoholic phase when I was in the Navy, but I prefer other methods. But I occasionally have a beer like this one.
What you sipping on?
This one is the Jack's Abbey shipping out of Boston Amber Lager.
Nice. Yes, I know that you like the lighter beers. I've got like the darkest of dark, Dragon's Milk.
Yeah.
11%.
Corinne likes the dark beers. I prefer the stale cardboard, flowery IPAs.
God, you and fucking I would love
IPAs.
I would love to have you try the Broken Skull IPA and see what you think of it.
I've had it. It's really good.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, I forgot you live somewhere where things are accessible.
Oh, yeah. Fucking love Wegmans.
Down here in the sticks, I can't find that kind of shit.
Love Wegmans and the create-your-own six-pack out of the single bottles and cans they just throw in the cooler.
Yeah, that place was really cool. I liked the whole refrigerator that we walked in that was just full of beer and kegs and stuff. It was like, this is what's up.
Yeah. I never did take you up to Beers of the World in Rochester. It's literally an old grocery store that this business took over, and it's just shelves upon shelves upon shelves of beer, and each different aisle is a different country with just beers imported from that country. There's like a Germany aisle, an Italy aisle, a France aisle, like Thailand, Singapore, Japan, China, like literally just beers from everywhere. Yeah. And then like one good section of it too is all home brewing dedicated. So they got all of the things needed to go and start your own small batch craft beer at the house. Right.
That's what's up. I actually know a guy. His name is Dallas, and he started brewing his own beer and stuff, and now I think he works for
his name's Dallas, but he's from Chicago.
He's a Reno.
He works for Swamphead?
Yeah, I think
that's cool. Swamphead does some good stuff. I remember that.
Dude, their fucking Midnight Oil is still my favorite
beer.
I
know. You really love that one.
God, it's so good.
You used to get that all the time when we go out to Paisanos.
Yes, sir. Oatmeal coffee stout. Give it to me all day.
Yeah.
Like, I will drink that all day. I am not a drinker, but yeah, that stuff's delicious.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that you drink in cups, our game this week was Cuphead. God, that was a terrible segue. But
it was, but it worked. It worked. Like, this was a double fuck for both of us, because reading about how legendarily hard this game is and watching you play it on Discord, I can see where the fuck from your end comes from. The fuck on my end came from every time I tried to load up the game, it would crash on startup. I couldn't get the fucking game to work.
And it was the weirdest thing, like, the version that I had sent you didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I even went to Mr. Bay and borrowed it from him, and that version didn't work for you.
No.
It's like it would load, the game would load on your computer, and it would like hang in the very first cinematic and then just crash.
Yep.
And no matter what I could think of to try to fix it for you, dog, I couldn't think of anything.
No,
So
I tried Google. I tried a bunch like different forums and everything like that, and just I don't fucking know. Like I don't know if it was like my virus software or something removing just even the smallest file. Like
the only thing that I saw online was a guy talking about that happened to him, and he just kept loading it, and eventually it started working.
Interesting.
I was like, well, that's annoying.
But I'm going to keep an eye out for this game and see if I can't catch it on sale at some point. I know it's probably going to be a while before it goes on sale because this game's still stupid fucking popular. Like,
now, there's a theory behind this game. I'm going to bring it up first and foremost, that of what is inside Cuphead and Mugman.
Yeah.
And like their Grandpa Tea Kettle. And there's this whole thing that they are moonshine runners. So it's moonshine that are inside of them.
Yeah, it's
like the fan conspiracy type thing, and I'd like that.
That's kind of a believable theory. I would go with like moonshine, or I would just go with alcohol of some sort, because it's based on that. The animation style of this is based on the cartoons from that like Prohibition era, like the 20s, 30s, early 40s.
Yeah. Well, and another thing I want to touch on before I start reading this Wikipedia stuff and getting into some other things about the game is that I don't know why this was in the platforming section on Steam when I set up our categories, because there are maybe 3 or 4 platforming levels in this game, maybe 5 that I saw at least. The rest of them, it's all just it's run and gun. It's shooting. Yeah. It's like Contra style almost.
Yeah. It's like a combination of run and gun and platformer, because there were a couple levels I watched you play that were definitely multiple levels. Like you definitely had to platform around, but it is a run and gun. It's very similar to say like Mega Man, Metroid, one of those old things where it's multiple levels but run and gun at the same time. Like,
yeah, I know that you watched me on the one quote unquote platforming level where I had to parry. And it would switch gravity, and I would switch to the roof. And you watched me very quickly say, "Fuck, I don't need coins that bad," and skip that fucking level.
Yeah, no, I probably would have did the same. Like as soon as I saw that you had like, there was like at one point it would have been like almost impossible because you had both the top and bottom portions of the level with enemies right fucking there. There was like unless you could find some way to hover in between them, it was fucking impossible. Like,
yeah, I could not figure it out, except maybe like if you were to dash over the cars, but I don't even know if your dash goes that far.
Right.
I couldn't figure it out, so I was just like, fuck this. Which I said a lot playing this game, but before we get into how I feel about it, Cuphead is a 2017 run-and-gun video game developed and published by Studio MDHR. The game was inspired by the rubber hose style of animation used in the cartoons of the 1930s, such as the work of Fleischer Studios and Walt Disney Animation Studios, and sought to emulate their subversive and surrealist qualities. Cuphead features 1 or 2 players taking the control of the animated characters, Cuphead and his brother Mugman, to fight through several levels that culminate in boss fights in order to repay their debt to the devil. The game was praised for its art style and noted that for its challenging difficulty, and it was both a critical and commercial success, winning several awards and selling over 6 million copies within 3 years.
Yeah.
And there is an animated series based on the game in production by Netflix.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I know I was reading up about the animated series, and they're not going to go full all out with like the old pen and paper animation style, but they are going to go old school and use hand-drawn animation and movement.
Nice.
So it's going to be a like novel throwback, but it's not going to be like an archaic throwback.
One other thing I'm going to do right now is read the plot. And that is because when I played this game, I skipped the plot because I didn't think there really was a plot. I was wrong. Ooh, I didn't mean to hit my microphone there. Sorry for the listeners. So the plot is, on the fictional Inkwell Isles, Cuphead and his brother Mugman are 2 fun-loving cups who live under the watchful eye of Elder Kettle. Against the Elder's warnings, the brothers enter the Devil's Casino and begin playing craps. When they go on a winning streak, the devil himself offers to raise the stakes. If Cuphead and Mugman can win one more roll, they will receive all the money in the casino. If not, the devil will take their souls.
No, brutal.
Cuphead loses by rolling snake eyes, and he and Mugman beg for mercy. The devil makes a deal with them. If the two can collect a soul contract from each of his runaway soul debtors by midnight the next day, he might let them keep theirs. They visit Elder Kettle, who gives them a potion that allows them to fire blast from their fingers to aid in their quest, but also warns to them that the debtors may change physical form in an effort to stop them. And then from there, you have to travel around fighting all the bosses, and from that is where basically the game begins.
Yeah, that's a brutal storyline. Like,
it immediately made me think, man, if they do an animated version of this, Cuphead and Mugman should be voiced by Jack Black and Kyle Gass, because they've dealt with the devil.
yeah. I don't know who they're gonna go in what direction for like casting wise. I know they're really aiming at the younger children's demographics as far as the show. They're going to include some subtle adult humor, but they're gonna go, I guess, more the child friendly route, probably like the Y7 rating, which it makes sense. There's some really good content that's Y7 on Netflix, but.
Well, the first boss that you run into is the Root Pack. Now I thought the game was working for you at this point, so I blew through all these first bosses, and you didn't get to see any of them.
No, I didn't.
So that's my apologies.
I probably wouldn't have been able to see them anyway, with work going on Monday through Friday and the children and everything like that. But
true enough.
I'm definitely, once I can get this game to work, or I eventually pick up this game, I'm going to play through it again. Maybe on a future episode I can talk about my playthrough and frustrations with the game, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can always come back to it, because I didn't beat it.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler for the rest of the episode. I did not beat this game.
Yeah, but you let me and let all our listeners know of your building frustration through this game.
Yeah, so the Root Pack wasn't so bad. It's the first fight you come into, and I think you fight like an onion, a carrot, and something else. I don't remember what the other there's 3 of them, though. And it's not a hard fight. It's kind of just introducing you to making you dodge stuff as it's coming at you. Not so hard.
Yeah.
But you beat them, and then you unlock Ribby and Croaks. And then on the way to Ribby and Croaks, now I did Ribby and Croaks next. I did not do these in the same order, but this list I'm looking at has them. So from there, I went to Ribby and Croaks. Now, there's an Easter egg with Ribby and Croaks. So their attire, one of them is wearing a white gi with a red belt, and the other one is wearing a red gi, right?
So is it a Street Fighter Easter egg?
It is, because people are like, their beginning stances look familiar, and it's because they're supposed to be Ryu and Ken, like based on them. Even in the background and the level, there are like people watching, like the old Street Fighter games.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
So you have to take them on. That was the first fight that I died like 4 or 5 times, but I finally got through it. I cannot stress enough how beautiful the animation in this game is.
Oh, yeah.
Flawless.
No, I can agree with you on that. Watching you play this on the Discord server, like, the animation was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Like
I am incredible. Like, I'm like, wow. It is going to, I feel like it'll live on for longer than most games, because this animation is going to age better than polygons and things that are out now. You know what
absolutely.
I mean? Like
absolutely. And like you look at the Wikipedia page and everything like this. This game won so many different awards for its animation. Like, and I can see why. Like, it was incredible. And the play mechanics of watching you play it was so smooth too. Like, and I don't know.
There were no hiccups.
Was this game hand drawn, or was this all like digitally created to look like that? Like, because if it was hand drawn, God bless these creators. Like, that must have took some fucking time in development.
The animation techniques behind Cuphead are similar to those of the 1930s cartoons. Chad Moldenhauer, who had previously worked in graphic design, hand drew the animations and painted the backgrounds using watercolors, colorized them in Photoshop. The gameplay runs at a frame rate of 60. So yeah, they hand drew everything.
Oh my god, that must have took for fucking forever.
But that comes through though.
It does. It really does.
Everything in this game has like just that little hand touch to it that just is not there in computer generated stuff. It's just, it's very good. After you beat Ribby and Croaks, I almost wanted to say Cloaks, and I'm like, no, that's not right. Ribby and Croaks. I then moved on to Goupy Le Grand. Le Grande or whatever. I don't know. Coupe Le Grande. And he's just a big blue ball thing that you have to fight. And then like his like he has 3 phases, right? And in his 3rd phase, he turns into a giant like headstone, like R.I.P. headstone, right?
Yeah.
But he's on like there's a picture of him on the gravestone itself, and he looks just like a slime from Dragon Quest.
Probably another Easter egg.
Yeah, it was a little ode to Dragon Quest in there, and there's an ode to Final Fantasy, but we'll get to that later. Once you beat Guppy Le Grand, I think he took me 2 or 3 tries. He wasn't so hard. You get to the first level that was the first level that made me, all right, I'm going to take a break for an hour. And it was called Hildeberg. And it is a flying level. You are in a plane, and it's more like a side-scrolling shooter.
Yeah.
And the level was called Threatening Zeppelin. And I'll full disclosure, I beat this boss on simple mode. I could not do it on regular mode. Fucking A. I am so bad at side-scrolling shooters, and this was no exception.
Yeah.
This was no exception. It took me forever. And after that was the fight that I thought I was going to quit on. And right off rip, I thought I was like, all right, well, this is where the game ends for me, the end of World 1. It's called Cagney Carnation, and it's this fucking stupid sunflower motherfucker. And there's like these 3 floating mushroom things that you can jump on. And I would get... So whenever you die, it gives you a race line.
Yeah.
How far you've gotten in the race. And I would always die. And you watch this happen a bunch too.
I said something about this. Like, what a way to really piss off the player, knowing that this game is stupid fucking hard to begin with. But at the end of every death, they're going to show you just how close to the end you were. Like, that's so fucking infuriating.
It's infuriating, but also... I feel like it helps because it's like, all right, if I can get back to that point, then I know I only have this much further to go.
Yeah.
So it's it kind of gives you a gauge point to judge from. But this fight, I ended up quitting for the night, and I logged into World of Warcraft and played that for the rest of the night. And the next day I came back to this Cagney Carnation and finally beat it.
Yeah.
But it was like you're jumping and you're shooting at it, and it's throwing seeds at you. It's shooting out these things that throw seeds into the ground that spit out these little things that fly at you. There's another thing floating in the sky that's trying to drop stuff on you. You made this comment watching me play. You were like, this game is busy. There is a lot of shit going in.
It is. I know I was watching you play one level, and you had something coming from the front. You had something coming from the front from like an angle, and then you had something coming from directly over top, with something that would come from behind you as well. And sometimes all 4 of them would come at the same time. Like, this game, from what I noticed you playing, is all about timing. Yeah. And they really make you focus on that with their attacks, like the way the enemy comes at you. Like, if you don't have your timing down perfectly, you're fucked. You're fucked.
Yeah. And honestly, if you don't learn how to parry, if you don't learn how to jump into those things that are pink, because anything that's pink, basically you can jump at it and then hit A again, and you will like parry off of it, and it gives you a super. So it gives you a piece of super move, and if you do not learn how to do that and take advantage of that, this game's gonna kick your dick in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like you saw me jumping forward a little bit on the Grim Matchstick, the dragon, when I was fighting the dragon. You were like, why do you keep jumping into those pink rings? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And that's when I explained that to you. But I was having to do that so I could keep hitting him with the fucking things.
Yeah.
And it was what ended up saving me was the shooting power that it's like a homing bullet. So I could be jumping the opposite direction of the enemy, but still holding the shoot button, and it would loop around and go back and hit them. And that's the only way I beat Beppy the Clown, which fuck Beppy the Clown. That's the only way I beat Grim Matchstick. I got past Island 1. You go into the King Dice place, and he's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Go. So you head to the second island, and the first one you fight is Baroness von Bonbon. There you go. That's a name for you for Guild Wars. Baroness Bon Bon.
I'm still really enjoying Brienne of Pop Tarth. I think that's a good one.
And she is like one of 3 that are initially available on this site.
Yeah.
On this site. Wow. On Island 2. And she is a pain in the ass. It wasn't the hardest fight that I had done so like up to this point, but it took me a good 5 or 6 tries to get past her. Jimmy, which they have a D at the beginning. Jimmy, gent.
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy the Great, and he's a genie, and he was a bit of a pain in my ass because this is another flying level, side scroller, and it took me forever. And then I moved on to Beppy the Clown, which was no fucking easier, even though that wasn't a
Which
flying
one
level.
was that? Was that the like the carnival one where the dude in the fucking bumper car? Yeah, I watched you play that one, and that one was a fucking bitch.
Yeah, I think that was the one that you were like, dude, there's shit coming at you from all directions.
Yep, that one. And then the other level that I saw you that was super fucking busy was the pirate ship with the Bluto looking motherfucker. You had the shark that would come from like behind you, the squid that was actually literally throwing ink at you, the ship spitting out cannonballs, Bluto throwing shit at you from the deck of the ship, and then the fucking like treasure chest on the fucking crane dropping down at your ass from the top. Like,
so funny story. That's the last level I beat.
Yeah,
the Bluto. His name is Captain Briny Beard.
Briny Beard. Yeah,
and he's totally based on Bluto.
It's
like totally.
It is fucking Bluto. Like,
and I will tell you about some of the bosses that are on Island 3 that I did not get to, and we'll touch on stuff that I didn't get to. But Rumor Honeybottoms, you saw me attempt that level. It was the B level.
Oh, that one looked so fucking hard.
I was like, fuck this. I'll come back.
No, I saw you. You gave it one go. It died in like 30 seconds, and you're like, yeah, no. We're gonna go. We're gonna go run around for a minute. I need a break.
Yeah. You had gotten up and come back. You're like, what are you doing? I'm just like running around to cool off.
Yeah,
that level pissed me off.
Yeah, and you'd only given it one play, like.
And then there's another side-scrolling flyer level that I'm glad I never got to. It's Cala Maria, and she is like a squid that shoots what looks like pufferfish at you.
Nice.
And ghosts with swords and pirate stuff. Then there's Dr. Kyle's robot. You have to fight a robot. There's Werner Vermin. It looks like a can of soup from what I'm looking at, if I'm being honest with you.
Yes. Look, I fucking love like this game. I haven't even played it yet, and just everything that I've like learned, everything that I've seen looking up stuff about this game is like, I know when I do finally get to play it, I'm probably going to love it, even though it's so frustratingly hard.
After that, it says it unlocks Sally Stage Play, which looks like an interesting level. But the final level before you start getting into the real shit at the end is the Phantom Express. And that is a straight-up homage to Final Fantasy VI. There is a battle with a ghost train. And it was big in the time because as you're fighting, the background was moving like you were on a train and stuff. So like, people thought that was really memorable. So they modeled this level after that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was really
that's
cool.
I know you were telling me about the like one of the final bosses and how difficult that level is because you have to go through what, like 7 or 9?
Yeah, I was just about to get into that. Is that when you want to fight King Dice, you have to fight 9 mini bosses.
Oh, brutal. And it's
go through
it's like it's in a row too, right? It's not like you have like 9 different mini bosses on like the same island that you have to go to first. It's like 9 mini bosses, then King Dice. Like,
that's what it seems like, but I'm not sure. It might just be that you have to beat all these. I'm not. I don't know. I didn't get there yet.
We'll get to it eventually.
The first one's up, and that is Take 2. The Tipsy Troop, and it is a flask, a glass, and a martini. And then the next one is Chips Beddington. He's a stack of chips.
That is a great fucking name. Remembering that for a future MMO.
You have to find a bag named Mr. Wheezy. A paper bag.
Oh, because you gotta fucking, when you're hyperventilating. Oh my god, this is fucking great. Like, this is great.
Pip and Dot. That one just looks like a Domino's thing to me. I don't know. Hocus Pocus. It's a rabbit that does magician stuff. Fear Lap looks like a skeleton dealer.
Oh my god, this is perfect. Like, it really is.
Piruletta. Mangosteen looks like an 8-ball. Mr. Chimes is a monkey. One of those. The final 2 people that you fight in the game are King Dice and then the devil himself.
And I saw those 2 in a cutscene, and fantastic animation, fantastic design on the creators' parts. Like, I couldn't imagine them any other way if we were actually like watching a 1930s Nickelodeon cartoon. Like,
right?
it's they really did their research and everything on the animation style for that time era and really hit it hard on this game for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I reached out to Tyler and Dave from Tadpog and asked them if they wanted to write a little blurb or anything, because they have covered this before, and I remember that Dave really liked it. So this is what Dave had to say about Cuphead. He said, quote, Cuphead is a true love letter to classic animation and includes nods to studios that have entertained us for generations. Seeing bosses that harken back to villains from Fleischer's Superman and more obvious references to shows such as Tom and Jerry is a delight for fans of classic animation. The lively animation was hand-drawn, and the era-appropriate music was recorded live, both factors that make this game feel like you're playing a cartoon. Cuphead's notorious Nintendo hard difficulty is not only appropriate for keeping true to its run-and-gun roots a la Contra and Gunstar Heroes, but is also completely justifiable in the world we live in, where many equate a game's value to the amount of time it keeps them entertained. Cuphead was my personal 2017 Game of the Year, and I would play it again and again. 11 Faustian Rebellions out of 10.
That's perfect. And I love that he categorized it as Nintendo hard. When I'm at work, because I work at a university, and I feel old there when I'm talking about video games with some of these young kids that I work with, especially some of the student workers that we work with that are only 18, 19 years old. We're talking video games, and I say games that are Nintendo hard. They're like, what? And I'm like, old school Nintendo, the NES system, shit like that. Those games were ridiculously fucking hard. And there's a reason why people refer to games as Nintendo hard, not just like this was a hard game. Like,
yeah, and I think the Master System links in there too, but it doesn't come off the tongue as easy. Like Master System hard is not as easy to say as Nintendo hard.
Yeah. Like there are still games to this day that I played way back when in my young 33 years, like that I have not completed yet. Like Legend of Zelda, never beat it. I think some of the older I think the first Mega Man game that I ever beat was Mega Man 3, but I couldn't do like any of the other ones.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't beat the original Mario until I was like 28. Like
all these years later, I'm still chipping away at the original Phantasy Star for the Master System. Like, that game is brutal. And I've been playing it on the Switch, which is the Sega Ages version, which makes it easier because there's like a little spot that maps out the dungeons and stuff for you. Yeah. On my Master System, like if I were to put it on my Master System, because, I have it for that, no mapping. You had to draw that shit yourself if you wanted maps.
And then, what kills me is we're talking about the difficulty of these games on these old systems. You got shit like another video game pop culture band is a Bit Brigade. And if our listeners have never heard of them, I would definitely look them up. But what this band does covers of the soundtracks from old school video games. And during their live sets, they have the band play the music as a member is playing the video game during their set. I saw them in Ybor City at one of the breweries down there. And
it's near Tampa, right?
Yeah, in Tampa. And this motherfucker beat Castlevania in like 20 minutes, beat one of the Mega Mans in like 20 minutes, and then beat Darkwing Duck in like 25 minutes. Like, he's fucking speed running these games. And
speed running always fascinates me. Like, I am not that good at it.
Yeah, no, he's speed running these games, and I can't even fathom beating these games on my own. Like,
well, I know Tyler did not like the game nearly as much as Dave. He did enjoy it. Like, don't get me wrong. I just remember listening to the episode that Dave really liked Cuphead.
Yeah.
And Tyler had to say, just that the game is beyond beautiful, and that, to him, is its biggest selling point. It's very difficult, but in a very rewarding way. And Tyler's daughter is obsessed with it, and it has been a great way for them to bond.
Yep.
And I think that's cool, too, because it is a two-player game.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about the last time you were playing it, and I was watching you playing it, is how, even though this game is frustrating, it's like one of those games that like once you get past that frustration and can actually do that level, the that satisfaction, that reward feeling you get for beating it is bar none. It's going to be unlike anything else. Like,
I feel like my first true experience with that back in the day was the very first Crash Bandicoot.
Oh yeah.
That game is brutal.
That one.
Hard.
What was another game back in the day that was really frustrating for me that I was super stoked when I actually finally beat it? I think was it Glover for the 64? I think that's what it was.
That sounds familiar to me.
You literally just play as like a glove, like the hamburger helper man. Like.
Oh man. I don't remember. I don't know if I remember that game, to be honest with you. I didn't have a 64.
I'm pulling up Google and seeing what it was.
Yeah, go for it.
And,
I know Tomb Raider had moments back in the day that would frustrate the hell out of me. The original Tomb Raider. And let me tell you something. When that comes up on our list, we have a choice. The original Tomb Raider, because I have 2 versions of it on Steam. I have the original version of it.
Yeah.
And I have the anniversary collection that makes it not tank controls.
Yeah.
So we'll have the choice of like who wants to play the OG one and who wants to play the anniversary, or we can split those into 2.
Yeah.
And then compare them.
And it was Glover. It was Glover.
Glover?
Yeah. And
I remember
you
hearing
literally
the name.
play as a glove, and the very final boss is literally just like a hand that you have to attack, and it like flicks at you and shit like that. Like it was a frustrating. That was an old school platformer. Like I still wish I had my 64. God, I love that system so much.
Man, there are certain games on the 64 that I really enjoyed. There are certain games on that I think aged like fucking hot milk.
Yeah.
But I feel that way about the PlayStation as well. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I was a PlayStation kid.
I had
a 64,
I had both. Like I had the PlayStation at my mom's and the 64 at my dad's. So I had the best. I had the best of both worlds growing up. But the 64 was my console of choice, and honestly, it's still my console of choice. I had so much fun with it. With the four person local multiplayer was a huge plus.
Yeah.
I still think my all-time favorite game is GoldenEye 64. I could play that shit forever.
Oh, God, that game aged terribly.
I could play that shit forever. I even went through and bought the remastered version that they did for the Wii, where they updated it to be the Daniel Craig Bond instead of the Pierce Brosnan Bond and everything. Like, I fucking love it. It was so good.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And the 64 had a bunch of rare games that I really enjoyed.
No.
Conquer, Banjo-Kazooie, that kind of stuff.
Love Banjo-Kazooie.
I don't know. But, so, Cuphead, I give it 10 out of 10 mugs.
Damn. You're giving it a perfect 10.
And I say that, well, okay, let me rephrase that. I give the animation 10 out of 10.
I would go with that, too.
Gameplay, probably a 9. It plays really smooth. Let's put it this way. This is the perfect run-and-gun shooter to me. Mm-hmm. And it made me I want to love this game so bad, but it frustrates me.
You're not going to get that love feeling until you actually beat it.
To the point. Yeah, like I feel like that this could be an easy 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
If I can just muster up the fucking courage to sit down and beat the motherfucker. Because it's like, I want to love it so bad, but there is something keeping me from loading it back up because it's like, dude,
I get that.
I would get genuinely filled with anger. Like,
yeah, I get that. Just watching you play it, I could sense that frustration, and I wasn't even fucking playing it. Just watching you, and I was like, oh god, he was so fucking close. There was like 3 or 4 times that I watched you, and when that little bar would pop up after you died, and you were literally right there at the end. Like
3 more shots would have killed the boss. Yeah.
Yep.
And what's funny is that the other day, I walked into the living room. My dad's like, "Hey man, I'm stuck on this level on Crash Bandicoot. Can you beat it for me?" And I was like, "Sure." I was like, "Which Crash, 1, 2, or 3? Because it's the remastered thing." And he's like, "Crash 1." I was like, "God damn it!" So I loaded up, and he's stuck on Ripperoo, and it took me like half an hour. And my dad finally was like, "All right, maybe you need to just wait a little bit, cool off." I said, "No, fuck that. I'm beating this shit right now." And I did. Nice. That next fucking game, I beat it. I was like, goddamn right. It was just one of those things. It's one of those things where it's just like I get to the point where I'm like, no. This has to fucking happen. Yeah. I don't care if I have to shit. I'll shit my pants. I have to beat this fucking thing.
That's dedication to your craft right there, sir.
Like South Park. Mom, bathroom. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed this game. Like I really did. I recommend it. I believe our next game. Let me pull up the November list. I believe it is Wonder Boy.
Is it? I haven't looked at the list. I haven't looked at the list in a while. I know you sent me the full month planned out.
Yeah, it's Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap.
Okay.
And this one should run smoother for you because it's on Steam.
Yeah.
It'll run a little smoother. So, I know this game's like been around forever. It started off as a Master System game. Like I was telling you, I think last episode, that one of the cool things is that you can switch the graphics between the new hand-drawn graphics and the old Master System graphics, like on the fly.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, that'll be the next game, and I appreciate Tyler and Dave sending in some kind words about Cuphead, letting us pick their brain about it a little bit, see what they thought. They're good guys, man. Tadpog. It's Tyler and Dave Play Old Games. They are where I got the idea for the randomizer for this show, because they use a randomizer. They are going through every American Super Nintendo release.
Oh, brutal. That's a pretty big catalog.
And what's funny is that they've already covered, like a few years ago, the top 100 Super Nintendo games. So now they're playing all the games that aren't in the top 100. So like,
wow.
They've got some, like, they've hit some real stinkers that.
Oh, I bet.
Basically, when you're listening to Tadpog, to me, like, you stay for Tyler and Dave. You know what I mean? Like, those guys are entertaining as fuck.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the game that they're playing; it's that they are super entertaining. And I challenge anyone to pay $1 to their Patreon, listen to the Jasmine Story episode, and not throw up. I would almost bet that I will reimburse you your $1 if you do not gag at least once during that fucking story. I'm not gonna.
Is it like the tale of Scrody McBoogerballs?
In a way,
yeah.
It is rough. But it's a true story. That's what.
Oh,
we'll talk about it off air. I don't want to spoil their Patreon thing, so we'll talk about it off air. But like, it's fucking rough. Bro.
Now I'm intrigued. I may have to pull up $1. Like,
it is a rough story. But yeah, Cuphead, fantastic. I recommend it. If
I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to play it.
And as far as I can think, that's about gonna do it. If you would like to find us on social media, you can go to facebook.com/the Steam Machine Podcast, or you can find us over on Twitter at Steam_podcast. I had to think about it there for a second.
Yeah, you were gonna fuck that one up.
I was ready. It was like primed and ready to be a fuck up.
It was.
Or you could hop over to YouTube and search the Steam Machine Podcast. I will be uploading the next batch of the last few episodes either tonight or tomorrow on there. So there will be some new content to listen to.
We also got the Discord server. You guys can hop in on there and join us, and we're in there all the time, streaming on one of the general voice channels, and we're in there. We're active, like.
Yeah, I will post a link to that in the show notes, or maybe the Facebook page. I'll put it out there again on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But we want to start getting some more people in there, join the conversations. We've got Fenris and Jack of Ziggy Moons in there right now.
Yeah. And once we get a couple more people and a little more active, maybe we'll start like a game night once a week and just have fun with it. That's what we want to do.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But I believe that's going to be it for this week's edition of the Steam Machine Podcast. Next week, Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap. He's Ryan. I'm Dalton. And as always, guys, take it easy.